enjoying this series so far. I'm so excited to show you this next episode where I'll start off by I put my work up, I look at it, I talk about each piece and just give myself a chance to pause and reflect and help figure out what the next steps, like what's gonna happen on the work, because it's work that is not resolved yet, but I haven't figured out yet what to do on it. And then after that, I'm going to show you me actually working in the studio. And I'm really curious what that's like for you watching that process. I do a little talking, but I'm curious if you can see my decision making, or if you have any questions about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, please put them in the comments so we can have a conversation about this. So we got this guy, again, these Moses tablets. I mean, that's not what I was thinking when I made them, but certainly that's what's they're referencing for me, which is kind of interesting because I'm studying Kabbalah right now, and I've gotten, I'm not a religious person, but I'm very spiritual and I'm very interested and respect all the different, spiritual traditions and religions. And so, there's stuff about the Bible and Moses and whatnot. So maybe that was started way before I started studying Kabbalah. So I'm not saying there's a connection, but maybe it's, who knows? I'm just reaching here. Let's let all those thoughts go and just be with the piece. I think what's bothering me about this is I'm not quite comfortable with the colors. They're not sitting right with me. And I think you guys will know what I mean. There's just a feeling when colors are working. You sort of feel it in your gut, like, yeah. I'm sure musicians feel that too when they sort of get in a groove. It's like, yeah. Can't really quite necessarily articulate it. Maybe if I was a writer or something, I could articulate it better for you, but I'm doing the best I can. But let me know if you know what I'm talking about, that feeling of like when your colors work. So what's happening for me is, and I'm gonna be super analytical about this. So what's happening for me is we've got all these warm colors and we've got this dark brown, and I'm just not happy with how these two are talking to each other. And there's no cool notes in it. Now that's not like, it's not a rule in art, you guys. You know that. I'm not a fan of rules, but for me, I'm not sure. I feel like it needs a cooler tone, maybe even just a cooler brown. I don't even know. I just don't know I'll sit on the table and I do as I do, which is I get into that quiet, receptive space that I have practiced through many years of meditation, and the ideas just come. And I know other people do it different ways. When I was younger and I didn't have the meditation practice in place yet, I would just blast the music and just go for it and hope something worked out. But that's just was my, whatever works for you. Tell me, when you're stuck on a piece and you don't know what to do, how do you move forward? I think sometimes it's just literally moving forward, just putting something down and not worrying about it. And I think that's another thing too. I've talked about it a gazillion times, but not being precious about the work. Okay, so now I want to talk to you about this piece. This piece was, I think it was executed entirely in my Emeryville studio, but now I'm maybe I started it up here. I don't know. So now I just carry stuff back and forth. It doesn't even really matter. But I brought it back up here because I wanted to finish it. So I'll show you. Oh wait, I think it was was it episode 1? I think I talked about this because I was working, I was collaging this on, right? And then what I've done is I've got this little guy. It just felt like it needed something. I'm gonna take it off. It's just put on there with artist tape. But it feels like it needs some focal point. But, you know, so I was like, I don't know. I don't know. This one has not been solved. He feels a little too pointy for me for the, and you know, where would he start? Would he go under that? Would he be on top? I'm not sure yet. So, that guy's unresolved too. So, I've got a lot of little problems to solve here. It's so much easier when you're at the beginning. You're like, yeah, just color, shapes, whatever. And then when they get closer to completion, you're just going for that, like, that one thing. Because especially with these, you know, painting, and I've done painting, you know, a lot of painting over the years. Painting, you can just keep adding on and scraping down and painting. Collage, it's just like paper. So if I covered these white spaces, this open space in there, it's gone forever. And where I'm at right now is really wanting to have something, a more spare, open aesthetic. In fact, this actually feels like quite a bit to me. So I think it's easy for me to add stuff to resolve them, but when I try to be more spare, it becomes this agonizing, well, I'm exaggerating. It's not that big a deal, but I'm just saying I worry over little decisions more because there's less of an ability to redo, if that makes sense. So everything becomes very kind of thoughtful, the placement, and that's why I just put him on with a little bit of tape, because I didn't want to commit to my idea until I knew what I was doing. So I'm gonna get to my table, I'm gonna ease in.
I knew I wanted something blue here, but I just couldn't decide what, as you'll soon see. I try all different types of things. And that's just how it goes for me. How about you? Does anyone else do collage? I'm curious what your process looks like. Because as I've mentioned before, collage is really new to me. I'm very comfortable with painting, with making installation work, but this is a new game for me. I did finally figure out what to do, and there's a link below to see the finished piece called In My New Home. So now it's time to clean up and close out the workday. It's really important to me to tidy everything because I feel so much more excited to start work when I walk back into an organized studio. I also will often write little post-it notes to myself about where I left off and what's coming up next. Let me know what you thought of this. Was this helpful to you watching this process? What questions do you have? And how does it relate to your own process? Is there something you can take away from this or something you want to share with everyone else? I'd love to hear what you've got going on in your studio. And if you think this would be helpful to someone, please share it with your friends. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. And until then, happy painting. See you soon.